Hello, beautiful consumers. Welcome to UNICAST. I'm Unical Unicron,
And this is Jeremy Garner.
And this is Christina Martin.
and today we're going to be talking about true wealth. So, what does true wealth? My mouth stopped working. What does true wealth mean to you guys?
To me, true wealth doesn't automatically mean $1 million in the bank. I think that even if you have a large sum of money or a well-paying job, if you have to work, say, like 40 hours a week or more, and you're sacrificing your health and your happiness, and you don't get to spend time with your kids or your family, then that doesn't make you wealthy, in my opinion. I feel like true wealth really is in your health, to be honest. If you don't feel good in your body, then it doesn't matter how much money you have because you won't be able to do anything with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when you say health, you mean your not just your physical health, but your mental and spiritual health too, because they're all tied together. Like your physical body will suffer if your mental and spiritual health is suffering too. It's all kind of tied together, yeah?
Yeah, of course. If you are in a low state of mind and you're constantly focusing just on money, for example, or you're caught up in just your own negative thinking or caught up in whatever the media is telling you, whatever negativity is around you, if you're constantly consuming that, then the body will follow. I'm a firm believer in that the body will follow the soul or the mind.
What do you think, Jeremy?
It's kind of like what I was talking about on the last podcast when I mentioned Christina's videos, because like what always resonated with me was that message that you always say about how when you like reach these places of wealth, like it's ultimately only just going to bring a feeling to you, the feeling you can have without actually having the things that lead you to them. So it's like to me wealth has always been an internal thing, not like something to achieve on the outside. But I do think that the outside will reflect what you're feeling within, so you ultimately get wealth outside of yourself once you've got the wealth within yourself.
Yeah, I think that if you're a grateful person, then all those material wonderful things that we think wealth we think of as wealth will come to you naturally.
Yeah, I think that's
Exactly.
true in a lot of ways, but I think that's also a pretty privileged place to come from, you know? Like, what about people who live in total poverty in other countries, you know? Like,
Yeah,
I
very good
suppose
point.
like you're not really seeing how they're perceiving their lives though. Like they could be living it in a really rich way, but if you're in a place which is more conducible to receiving um, monetary wealth, then when you find wealth within that might be what you get, whereas it could be different somewhere else.
I even wonder if let's say you're living in a society where you're agrarian or whatever, and you're growing crops and that's all you have. But I feel like if you're positive, I feel like your yield will be positive. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
totally true, but if you are totally full of love and you've got the wealth coming from within and you tend to the land in a loving way, then you're going to yield much higher crops. I don't know. It's really hard because we live in such a capitalist society where money is so tied to wealth. I mean, it's on the radio, it's on the news, it's on every channel, it's in the newspaper. It's the only thing that people think of for the most part when they think of the word wealth is money and how much money is in the bank. And everybody is obsessed with how much money they have because you need so much of it to get by. And we go into debt just to go to school, and we go into debt because we're in the hospital, and we go into debt because we have to buy a car to get to work, and we go into debt because we have to buy a house. You know, it's all of this
Yeah.
stuff that really kind of blinds us to this other kind of wealth that really keeps us down, I think, in this weird money game that is really detrimental.
Yeah, I don't really think that accumulating a bunch of stuff will really bring happiness. Like if you talk to people who are really rich, sometimes they're happy. Yeah, sure. If you talk to people who are really poor, sometimes they're happy.
If somebody has just bought like this incredible big mansion and something, like I just saw this the other day and then found out that their partner just died like after they've built this whole dream together. Or like the example that you gave, Nicole, about someone who had accumulated all this wealth and then lost it. Was that what it was?
Yeah, I mean, they were working their whole lives. Those my grandparents, and then yeah, they lost it in that stock market crash, all of it, all of their retirement, all of their savings, everything, and it destroyed them as far as their happiness, because their happiness was so tied to this idea of money, and they had nothing after that. And it's really sad to see somebody go through that, like, because wealth should come from within. I really feel.
Yeah, I think some people are pursuing the idea of money, and I think that that idea, this idea of money is going to bring them happiness. But when they actually get it, then they realize that that doesn't bring true happiness or true wealth. And
it's not anybody's fault if they're like trying to fill like their heart with stuff and then they feel miserable, because like that is seriously how our whole culture is conditioned to make people feel with advertising. And I mean, that's the whole goal of advertising, is to set up a need for somebody to try to fill with a product, and then make sure that the product never actually fills the need, so that people keep buying things to try to fill this need. And it just creates this totally empty state of consumerism where you're spiritually devoid of any real happiness.
Yeah, I think that people are obviously being conditioned to believe that they're not spiritual beings, that they're just physical beings, and that they're just in a physical world. So in order to feel truly complete, they need to buy things to make their physical worlds more complete and happy. And this delusion is just continually separating people from the truth. And you're absolutely right. The media continues to enforce this and continues to brainwash people into believing that happiness is something that they have to attain, or wealth is something that is going to bring them this happiness, that they have to buy their happiness.
I was just going to say that, like, I think ultimately money would buy you happiness in the long run, because it would teach you that it doesn't work. So it's like you have to find this alternative. But it's like the really long way of going about it. But I suppose there would always be this temporary thing that comes with it, though. That would
momentary pleasure, but pleasure always leads to pain, in my opinion. It's not the same as the joy that comes from just being, the peace that doesn't leave you. That's true wealth, in my opinion. Being able to enjoy this physical life and enjoy physical things, and enjoy the pleasures that come with physical experiences and things and people, but not attached to them, and return to that state of peace.
Yeah, it kind of riles me up to think about how much society is making people stay in that state, though. Like, we can talk as much as we want about having this like inner peace and joy, but when it comes down to it, like, everything depends on money. And like, it's like so many people are just like working so hard, and like they're totally competent, capable people who are, I worked in minimum wage jobs for so long. Like, I can't even imagine having a family and only making, that much money and working that many hours and just trying to get by. It's just like, it makes me so angry that society is set up in this way to like really trap people. So what can you do if you really are like in poverty? Like, do you think you really can just like overcome it like through inner joy? Like, or do we need to really change society?
I think it starts firstly with recognizing that you're in a shitty situation, and then taking action, definitely. But it's so the system is so in place. It's hard to know what action to take. Like, what action do you take? I don't know. Like, where do you begin?
It's really hard, because you can like find enjoyment doing things, and like find total fulfillment and wealth and creating things or whatever, but you're still going to have this like outside world influence that's saying you need to make this amount of money and you need to have this to live and everything. So that's where it gets really complicated. And
it is no joke, like, that money can really buy you as many tools as you want, or like, the comforts. It's like when I started making more money from making minimum wage, and then I started making like, I would say a comfortable amount of money. It's like it got to the point where I was like, I had so much less worry, every day, just because I was getting a livable wage. And I feel like everyone should get that. Like, I don't feel like anyone should be in this state of a perpetual worry just to get by.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we should be able to have the things, like the tools that we need to really live out what we need to do, like what we want to achieve.
Yeah, but I always try to remind myself that it's not money that's creating those tools. It's people coming together. Money. It's an energy, but and we're misusing it. But ultimately it doesn't have to exist. People have existed on this planet before without using money, or just by trading things, etc. And if we sort of step into that more communal vibe and realize that we're all one and start sharing with each other and start coming together just to create and help each other instead of staying in that divided, I have to work hard and protect myself and fight against other people, or else I won't have enough and I won't have a good life. If we step out of that mentality and realize that if 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 we're acting like that, no one's going to evolve. I think
Yeah.
things are going to get better.
Yeah, it's like the only thing stopping so many people is this kind of competition feel of that, and without having this communal spirit, it's so much harder. Because like, it's weird how we can think that we can actually grow food on land like that could just feed everybody, but people won't allow that because they want to like sell it and create a
Yeah,
business
no,
out of it.
crops are burned up because some people don't have enough money to pay for food, so then they don't get to eat, and the
Yeah.
crops are literally burned and destroyed because we grow too much food. And I was watching a documentary, or I might have heard it somewhere, but the amount of grains and stuff that we give to animals for the meat industry, if we gave those grains to the people here on Earth, then
Feed
no
the
one
whole
would be
world.
hungry.
Yeah.
Like no one would be hungry. So
Yeah, all of these problems can be solved. It's not a lack of wealth that exists. It's not like we don't have the resources to make sure that every single person is comfortable and happy. We have
yeah,
them here
Yeah.
on this planet. We just, yeah, I think it's such a super good point. Like, even if that's something I think everyone can do, is really just focus on this more communal aspect of like helping. Our human connection is more important than anything else that we
Yeah.
even can think of.
because what does it matter if you're wealthy but you have no one to share it with?
It's like King Midas.
I have no idea who that
Yeah,
is.
I don't
Oh,
remember.
he had the magic ability that everything he touched turned to solid gold, and he ended up touching his family, and they all turned to gold, and he was like, "Oh, what good is this?"
Oh, that
Ah.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Let's talk about the idea of like eco communities. A lot of people
Yeah.
are starting these new communities where they're living off grid, or they're producing energy from solar power or wind power, or you've heard of those like earthships and tiny houses and things like that. Like, do you think that's going to be more of a common occurrence as people start to realize that money is sort of enslaving them to a certain extent, and
Yeah,
we
I
don't
think I
really
think
necessarily need it?
all these things are gonna like just happen so much more as people become more creative and realize that they don't have to just do things in this very methodical, routine like way that it's been doing. Like so far it's been this 9 to 5 job thing going back and forth, living this very traditional style, but it feels so old energy in so many ways now just to even look at that. And so many people in it are not feeling contentment with what they're doing. And I think it's going to just like branch out into everybody exploring all these new avenues and different ways of bringing these new things about like what you're describing.
It's so true. Whenever I talk about unicorn acres, which is like my farm idea, like almost everyone I talk to who's around our age is like, "Oh, that sounds exactly like what I want to do."
Yeah.
Everybody has this plan, but it's like it's so hard because we're going against the old world. So once the old world starts to kind of like crack and break down, and this is becoming like more common and more people are able to like kind of get land and things like this on it where people are invited to be on it, like I really think it will take off.
I think if
Definitely.
more and more people wake up to the fact that they're not just humans who have to who have to abide by these human man-made laws, they will start to come together and form these communities, because they'll realize that they're spiritual beings and they can really do whatever they want here, and they don't have to listen to someone else telling them, oh, you have to do this and you have to live this way. Um, they'll start to align with the laws of nature.
You can just go anywhere and meet anyone and do anything. And like there are people that obviously live that kind of lifestyle. Even people that just like hitchhike around and just kind of live day to day. I mean, they're seeing a glimpse of that because they're living from a place of trust and love, and they're just expecting they just know they're going to meet the right people where they need to, and everything's going to be good. But it's like we don't have that same trust. We have this fear, and I think that it's the fear that's like preventing us from reaching out and really touching the people next to us, who it's almost like we all have these invisible barriers up between us, and we're like, I own this and you can't have that. But it needs to be this more like just trusting place, so we don't. I mean, the other day I got high and I had to like go inside and I had to unlock the door to get in there, and I just laughed for like minutes about the fact that I had to unlock a door. I was like, why do we lock our doors? Like, and it's just this whole thing, like this. It's so crazy that we're actually here, like locking ourselves out from each other, literally.
What am I doing? Locking a door? I'm not gonna unlock it every time I want to get into my car. Like, is it that big of a deal?
Your city is safe though. I lived in an apartment where literally I lived next to like a crackhead, and I had to lock my door, and our car got broken into like so many times. The window got smashed, but maybe it was because I was in a like crappier place. It doesn't happen to me anymore. Maybe that has something to do with it as
I
well.
don't
If
know.
you're
I mean, I've stolen as well, you know. Like, but it's not like I'm not gonna lock my bike up, you know.
Well, it's like these things still exist. There are still people out there that will take advantage of it. But I just think as we all more get into that place of trust, it won't, like that need for them to be stealing and stuff in the first place isn't going to exist on the same level.
Yeah, well, people will realize there's more than enough.
Yeah, they'll already have what they need, so it's like there's no need to go and steal it because it's already freely available.
Yeah,
They've done studies where, you know, like in cities where there's huge amounts of crime, um, the number one like indicator that there will be a lot of violent crime is economic disparity. So like a big gap between the rich and poor, and like the more of that gap that there is, the more violence that there is in the city. So it's just like it's really causing a lot of issues, like the fact that we
Yeah.
have this like poverty in our culture. Like I really think we are, you know, all one, and like, and to think that you can get rich while other people are still starving, you know, it's like that's why people have gated communities and stuff, you know, because they don't want to even face the fact that other people are not as well off as they are, because it's like it's scary to realize that, you know, like it feels like a really big problem. Like how could you help the whole world? But I don't know that people really need to feel that way. I think it's more just like having a spirit of generosity and like and a spirit of abundance rather than like hoarding, you know. I don't know.
I think charity also can be kind of tricky because if you give to charity and you're told that your dollar when you go to a coffee shop is going to help people in a third world country, then you feel good enough, right? You feel like, oh, I'm doing a good thing. But that's not really helping anything because you're still saying, okay, like I accept the system. I accept that some people are poor and some people are rich, and I'm doing my part. So I don't really have to focus on the problem. Like the real charity would be to go and see how these people are living and actually take it in. So then you could do something about it, like take action instead of just paying a dollar here or there, and who knows where the money actually goes. So
Yeah, it's probably really corrupt.
oh, I know it is, especially the cancer charities. They're a lot of them are run by the cancer medication companies.
They don't want to cure because they are not.
Making
No,
money out of it.
then there's definitely a good way to cure cancer, but
I think there's many ways.
I think pharmaceutical companies would rather make money off of medication.
Yeah, that's so deep to think that, like, even the things that people are feeling good about with these like systematically set up charities, it's actually just keeping them in that perpetual state of repetition and not coming out of
Yeah.
the whole thing. It's like a trap because it's giving them that false sense, which is keeping them in the system. So it's so important what you're saying to like really free yourself from within and then go out and do what you can personally do on an individual level.
Yeah, and I think it can come too, like, I mean, I think when I think about this, I think like, oh, I'm just gonna like go to the street and like hand out, you know, my money to people. But like, I think of it more as like really just building myself up to the place where I can have like an ethical business where I can pay people like an ethical wage, or like, you know, give as many mental health days off, you know, like still working within the system, but pushing it as hard as I can towards this
Yeah.
freer state of being. I think that that's like a really powerful thing to do for like entrepreneurs or people who are already in these positions of power, you know, who want to do good work, but it's hard to know exactly what to do. But I think we all have this amazing power within ourselves and within what we're already doing to like really just push things towards a more equal place.
It wouldn't take much. It's just like when it was a collective thing where everybody kind of agreed upon it at once, then it really wouldn't take much to make it happen. It's just because so far it seems like it's the minority that is thinking like this, but it's really the majority. It's just that they haven't like realized that everybody else is thinking the same thing. So when it suddenly clicks, it will be a very fast process to change.
How do you think we come to that place of communal like understanding of wanting to give to another person? How do you think we get there?
I think media, I can't escape that like thought. I really feel like if we all had music on the radio and like TV shows and like it came from the media creators were really kind of infiltrating these messages into the media, people would be like, oh, I can live that way.
Yeah, fantastic.
I think actually like music is when you are in an environment and you just like hear like when they're playing music and you're in an audience and you just see everyone, it's like everybody's just one. It's like this communal thing, and I've never felt as one with everybody as I have when I'm with them all with like great music that everybody loves. It's like there is something uniting about that where everything else falls away for a while.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So it would be through that same power where we could really create this. Well, it's not even that you have to create this communal idea. It's more just like a remembrance that it's already there.
Yeah, like identifying it and saying this is powerful.
I think everybody kind of does feel connected, but it's just that this is gonna when they really, really tap into it. And I think what you're saying with the media, that's where it will be a big thing because it's like the language that we're used to hearing right now.
I think we're being brainwashed to believe that love and happiness is hippie like crap that is like stupid or for like stoners and things like that.
Yeah.
And I know I talk to people and and I tell them what I do for a living, and I tell them, oh, I'm like a spiritual teacher or healer, and they're like, oh, like really, like that hippie shit. I'm like, yeah, like love and compassion and healing the planet and everything. And it's just it baffles me how people have been allowing themselves to be brainwashed to believe that love is something like bad, like
and make fun of, and like it's silly, right? And we live in this culture of cynicism right now. Like what's cool right now is cynicism, smoking cigarettes and glaring a lot, and just being like really negative and like kind of looking at everything with a side eye and not really loving anything.
No, they're all
it's just
they're all activities that promote death, smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol.
It's like totally disharmony, and like I think all that is like the reason why especially like a lot of young people identify with that is because they see that the culture that has been in place is so messed up, and it's like to rebel against that, the most obvious thing to do is just to be like pissed off and like cynical. But after that, then we can grow into this place of, hopefulness and healing and love and joy and healing the planet.
The cynicism and rebellion is really a good sign because it means that people are going against that, and that's going to lead into what you're talking about. But yeah, I agree. Like we live in a world where even just to hear the word tree hugger is like a negative thing. That's not considered a positive thing to hug a tree.
Which is crazy.
It's not
crazy.
Hugging trees is amazing. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
I love hugging trees.
Oh yeah, it's the best. That's why I think it's so powerful that we're coming together to do these podcasts, and we're putting out videos and media and songs all about the fact that we are one. Because if we can use that exact method in a positive way, like Unicole's all about brainwashing, then that's how we can really create change and show people what true wealth is, in my opinion. So music, yeah.
Jeremy, I'm gonna plug the donation. Can you move it like to the front later?
Like put it at the start of this recording?
Yeah, like maybe not the very beginning, but like somewhere.
Just like straight away.
And now a news from our sponsors. If you would like to support the Unicast, please donate now.
Speaking of money, there's a suggested $2.22 donation for each podcast that you enjoy. That helps us keep making podcasts, helps us quit our jobs so that we can keep making media about true wealth.
that we actually have these things available for free, but then the option is there to receive the money. Because while we're in the system, I think that is the best possible way of like integrating both worlds. It's like we can put it out there for free and it can benefit people and they don't have to pay it, but then they have that option, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's not like a huge ask.
I used to hate my music so much, and I was so I just really didn't like it, and I was so self-conscious of it. And I remember going into a trance and having this vision about this creature that came up to me, and he was like putting his arm around me and saying, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I hate my music. I don't, you know." And this was before I had released it. And then he said, "Oh, I've got something that can help you." And he handed me like a Barbie doll, and I was like, "What the fuck are you giving me a Barbie doll for? Like, I hate this. I don't want this." And then he pointed at this little girl, and he said, "Well, maybe she'll like it." So I went and gave it to her, and then I came back to him, and he said, "Well, when you don't like something, like, give it to somebody that does like it." So that really helped me a lot to just like release the music out there in a free sense. And it was the same creature that kind of said to me that it's really not like our job to make people find our music, but it's their job to find it. And it's the same with like them paying or whatever. You can pay somebody with money, or you can pay them a compliment, or you can pay them with your attention. Like just listening to something is a form of payment and wealth.
I love that story. That was a great story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's such like a good lesson, like to know like that, I don't know, that you could give something like that and you might not even like, I don't know. That was great. What will the world look like in 30 years?
However we envision it to look like now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely more eco communities, people living off grid or sustaining themselves with renewable energy, I feel.
I hope robots are doing all of the shitty jobs.
Yeah, oh, we could have
Yeah.
robots doing everything for us right now. Everyone should have a robot butler and a maid.
And lover. Robot lovers.
Definitely.
Oh, there's already laws about you can't have sex. There's already laws about how if you get a robot, you can't have sex with it in play.
What?
I think so, and that's ridiculous to
No,
me.
there's some people who are like trying to like make laws like that. I don't think laws like that actually exist. They're just like dumb because they're not thinking of like the full spectrum of possibilities. They're just like so scared about like, I don't know. It just is. That's a whole other topic. I could talk about sex robotics for like a whole podcast.
It's amazing they could actually make something like that illegal, though, if that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about like how to feel abundant.
Like how to feel abundant in the moment. Even when you don't have what you want, you could focus on what you have, and then you'll feel grateful. Like when I am most unhappy, or when I'm most unhappy, it's because I'm not being grateful, and it's because I think that I don't matter, and I'm not putting attention on the things that I do have in the moment, and the people who love me in my life. I'm not living in the moment. I'm thinking about a future, or I'm trying to attain lots of things in the future, and I'm deluding myself about what true happiness is. So I think if you want to feel grateful, just stop yearning, just stop thinking about the future. And I guess my suggestion for that would be meditation, because that really helps you put things into perspective, and it helps you return to your natural state of enlightenment and peace. And from that place, you're always abundant, because you can look at life and just laugh, and you can see that it's just a dream. Like we're just dreaming ourselves into existence, and everything's gonna die, everything will end, and everything that's harsh, but it's true. Everything is impermanent. So all the things that you accumulate, they're eventually gonna rot away or disintegrate. And what are you left with?
Everything's going to die. We're all going to rot. And you should feel good now.
But you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say. Everything is impermanent. So
I think like
you could get it, like you were saying before with your family. They what happened to their farm or something?
Oh no, just all their savings was like stolen.
Oh.
It's like Jimmy's song, "The Human Race." Like, you'll in the end, you'll get killed or robbed, right? Isn't that what you say, Jimmy?
The human race to nowhere. Yeah, it's his what I don't even know my own lyrics, I'm sorry. It's
like,
something about living now and enjoying, like, laughing, dancing, and playing and singing now.
Because
You're gonna get
everything's gonna die.
Everything's gonna die.
but seriously,
Everything will
Christina,
end.
like, meditation's like such a good thing, and it's like such a good end goal for me, but like, sometimes I get so much in my state that, like, no matter how much I try to think my way out of it, it just gets worse and worse. So for me, like, to feel abundant, I usually just keep like some of my money in cash, like, and I don't spend it. I just keep it so that I can take it out and I can look at it and I can be like, wow, look, I do have money. Like, look at all this money I have. And then like, and I just like, I have to keep that cash in my house. And then when I do that, then I can, like, I don't know, that helps me get to the meditative state where I can just be like, oh, like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And the fake money helps with that too, you know, my piles of fake money that I keep. For that same
How much
exact
was
reason.
how much was that fake money? I'm interested.
I think that fake money that I bought was like $10 a pack, like for a pretty big pack. And
Wow.
I spent, like, I bought 2 of the big packs.
Oh, I have something good. What makes something truly valuable?
We are here from space, born as the human race. We are here on Earth to redefine worth. Hating one another is hating ourselves. Loving one another is loving ourselves. Hating one another is hating ourselves. Loving one another is freeing our one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, don't you wanna have some fun? We are all one. Come on, let's have some fun. Connecting into the matrix of each other. Connecting into the matrix of yourself. Connecting into the matrix of the earth. Connecting into the matrix of true love. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, don't you wanna have some fun? We are all one. Come on, let's have some fun. Connecting into the matrix of each other. Connecting into the matrix of yourself. Connecting into the matrix of the earth. Connecting into the matrix of true love. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, don't you wanna have some fun? We are all one. Come on, let's have some fun. Gratitude, abundance, and mystery. Knowledge is power, generosity. Gratitude, abundance, and mystery. In this embodiment, you are free. Gratitude, abundance, and mystery. Knowledge is power, generosity. Gratitude, abundance, and mystery. I am you, and you are we. We are all one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, don't you wanna have some fun? We are all one. Come on, let's have some fun. and you are we. We are all one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, why don't we have some fun? We are all one. Come on, don't you wanna have some fun? We are all one. Come on, let's have some fun.